Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and this Starburst cards tutorial. Starburst cards are an amazing way of using up your pattern papers or scrapbook papers to make beautiful handmade cards. Use your Cricut or other cutting machine to cut all of these shapes from your pattern paper and then slot them into the frames to make almost like a jigsaw effect. It's called a Starburst card because all of those shapes go together to a point to surround some text or an image on the front of the card. In this video, I'm making two Father's Day cards. We've got this one with the dad in the middle, and then one where the Starburst effect goes down to the corner instead, and this one says Happy Father's Day. However, the exact same steps that you'll see in this video can be used for any of my Starburst cards, including all the fun designs I've got planned later on this year. However, if you'd like to design your own Starburst cards, including adding any words or even any images onto the front of the card, keep watching until the end of this video to find out how to do that and where you can get 10 bespoke Starburst card templates that are fully customizable. But if you just want to use the pre-made ones I've already created for you, that is absolutely fine too. Here's how to find those and how to download them. You can find the free files to make this project at craftwithsarah.com/free-SVGs, or click the link in the description of this video to go to the tutorial where you can download straight from that page. You'll need to register a free account on my website in order to download any of the designs. The download comes in a zip folder. Before you can get the files into your cutting machine software, you'll need to unzip that folder. Visit craftwithsarah.com/help for instructions on how to do that, as well as a wide range of other tutorials on how to use your Cricut, Silhouette, or Scan and Cut machine. Once you've downloaded and unzipped the folder, it's time to get the SVG files into Cricut Design Space. Open up Design Space and start a new project, then click Upload over on the left, and then Upload Image. You can then either click Browse to find the files on your computer or drag and drop them in. Make sure you choose the unzipped version of the download folder, and within there you'll see several subfolders with numbers down the side. For Cricut Design Space, it's nice and easy. You want the ones in the 01 Cricut version folder. If you're using a Silhouette, a Scan and Cut, or a different type of cutting machine, head to craftwithsarah.com/help. Choose your type of machine from the list on the page, and then within there are separate videos on how to use my files with your particular type of machine software. But as I'm using Cricut Design Space, I'll go into that 01 Cricut version folder, and within there are two SVG files. You'll know if you've got the right ones because they start SVG-01 in the file name. The two cards that I'm showing in this video are the one that say Dad and the one that say Father's Day. The steps work exactly the same for either of these files and indeed for any of my Starburst card designs. So I'll show you the one that says Dad. Drag it in and this is what it looks like. There is a base card included, you just can't see it because it's white, so it's the same colour as the background. Press continue, and then on this screen you can see the base card there now. You don't need to change anything here, just click on the upload button. Then it will add the card to your canvas. Design Space have started this new thing where it pops up this menu bar whenever you upload something. I find it super annoying, but luckily it's easy to get rid of it by clicking on the arrow about halfway down the page. The design should load in at 7 inches wide and 10 inches tall. When you fold the base card in half, it will make a finished card that's 5 by 7 inches. This is ready to cut out as it is, so you could go ahead straight away and start cutting. However, if you have a scoring wheel or stylus for your machine, it's helpful to add a score line down the base card to make it easier to fold. To do that, click on the design to select it, and then press the Ungroup button at the top of the Layers panel. Then you can click and drag on the base card to move it over to the side. The reason the base card is white is that you won't actually see any of it once all of the details are added onto the front. The Starburst design completely fills the front of the card. So it's easiest to make the base card from white because then you'll be able to write your message inside and it will all show up beautifully on that white card. To add the scoreline, go into Shapes and choose the scoreline option, which is the first one up here. And then close out of the Shapes menu by clicking the arrow. Make the line 7 inches tall, and then if you're doing a landscape card like I am on this one, you'll need to rotate it 90 degrees. If you're doing a portrait card, you won't need to rotate it. To rotate, type 90 into the rotate box at the top of the screen and then press enter on your keyboard. Then drag a box that just touches the scoreline and the base card to select both of those, and then press Align Center. That puts the scoreline exactly in the middle, but we're not quite done yet. With those two layers still selected, press the Attach button at the bottom of the Layers panel. Attach is what tells the Cricut that we want it to do that scoreline in the middle of the base card. Attach moves it to the top of the Layers panel. If you want to move it back into position, press Arrange, Center Back, and then you can click and drag it vaguely in place again if you want to. It can be helpful to change the colours of the Starburst design to match the colours of card that you'll be doing it from. It just means that when you're loading your colours into your Cricut, you definitely put the right one in at the right point. I've got some golf-themed scrapbook papers that I'm going to use for this card, and then as there's a lot of green in the colours of those patterns, I'm going to make my frame green too. So I'll click on my frame and change that to a dark green, and then I'm going to stick with the two different colours, so two different types of pattern paper. One of the ones I'm doing, which will be on the corners, has got a kind of beige background. So I'll click into Advanced, try and get a beigey colour. And then you can either click each of the other ones you want to change and do it one at a time, or you can click one of them, press Shift on your keyboard and keep the Shift key held down to select them all and then change the colours all at once. Or you can click Colour Sync at the top of the Layers panel after you've changed one of the colours. So I've already changed this one to the beige. And then you can click and drag all of one colour into the other one to change them all in one go. My other pattern paper is more of a bright green, so I'll change that to match, go to Colour Sync, drag all those orange ones into my brighter green. And then my dad, I'm going to cut from a gold card, so I'm happy to leave that as yellow. To put your Layers panel back to normal, just click Layers over here on the top and it will go back to separating out all the pieces. And now this is ready for me to cut, so let's go Make on the top right. I'm not going to worry about saving it, and that will separate out all the colours for you. You can change the paper size in the drop downs down here, and you'll need to do that for each colour. Be careful when you're changing the paper size of the Starburst shapes, because sometimes when you do it, it can rotate the shapes around even if you don't actually want it to do that. The reason that can be a problem is that if any of these shapes end up being cut the wrong way from your pattern paper, it means that if you've got a pattern that's directional, i.e. it only looks right from one way up, then if any of these shapes change, for example, if that one ended up like that, it means that when it's stuck on my card, my pattern won't be showing in the correct orientation. So try not to rotate any of the shapes, but you can drag and drop to move them about to take up less space on your cardstock. Just make sure when you're moving things about that nothing overlaps. For example, those two shapes are now overlapping. If they overlap, it means they're not going to cut out properly as they'll cut into each other. So I need to move that one so there's a gap between all of the shapes. When you're happy with how everything's looking, press Continue to connect to your Cricut and then follow the on-screen instructions to get everything cut out from your cardstock and your pattern paper. Here are all of the pieces of my dad card cut out and ready to be stuck together. I'll be putting it together with a combination of glue and foam squares. The glue I'm using is Berry Art Glue, but I also like Halal, and the reason I like these two glues is they don't bend or wrinkle the cardstock like some glues can do. To add a bit of dimension to the card, I'll stick the word Dad on with foam squares. The foam squares I'm using are from Dot & Deb, but any will do. If you don't have foam squares, you can use glue instead. First things first, let's fold the base card along that score line. If you've got a brayer tool, then you can go down the score line to make sure it's really crisp. And then take the front of your card, which is the frame piece that looks like this with all the cutouts in the middle, and glue it onto the front of the card. The frame is the exact same size as the front of the card, so you can line it up along all the edges to make sure it's straight. And then push down to get it really nicely stuck. Next up, put all of the pieces into the sides. For now, I'm just going to lie them in place so that I know I've definitely got all the bits in the right holes, because you don't want to start sticking and then realise that you've accidentally stuck some in the wrong place or done it in the wrong order. I'll just roughly get all these in their holes first. I made it easy for myself by lying them out in the right order next to me before I started. Alright, so that's all those bits in there, and now I can start gluing them. If you prefer, you can use your foam squares to make these pop out from your background a bit instead. It's completely up to you, whatever effect you want to choose. So pick one of the pieces up, turn it over, add some glue to the back. I try not to go right up to the very edges with the glue, because otherwise it can smush out a bit when you try and push it in the hole. And it will line up exactly in there and push right in so it ends up flush with the card. If you've used different thicknesses, for example, my green card is quite thick and then all of the sports pictures are quite a thin kind of paper, it won't be entirely flush. You'll still be able to feel the ridges when you run your finger over it, but it should completely fit into those holes. It kind of reminds me of those kids' wooden puzzles where you get the little cutouts for different animals or shapes or something. This is the grown-up version. Alright, I'm going to continue round until all of these are glued in place. That's all those pieces stuck in there now, so I've got my lovely golf design coming through. The last thing to do is to use foam squares to stick the dad on the front. I've cut this from a sort of gold shimmery card to add a bit of sparkle. If your foam squares are large, you might need to cut them smaller with scissors to get them to fit on the back of the piece that you're sticking on with foam squares. Mine are quite small already, so I don't need to do that. If you're doing a Starburst card design that's got several layers, then you can choose which ones you want to glue and which ones you want to foam. But as I said earlier, if you don't have foam squares, that's no problem, just glue it on. It will still look absolutely lovely. I've got a good amount of foam squares on here, so it will stick really nicely. And now I've peeled all of the tops off so that they're sticky. And then line it up in the middle. Check you're happy, and if you are, then push down. My gold card matches my nails. And there is my first Father's Day Starburst card, all finished. Alright, let's also take a look at the other one, which is where the focal point of the card is on a corner rather than this one, where it's in the middle. And it does go together in exactly the same way. For this one, because the text is quite thin, I might end up gluing it rather than using foam squares. Haven't decided yet on that one. But the rest of the card goes together exactly the same. So I will glue my frame on after I folded the card in half, then place all of the cutouts in the holes to make sure I've got them all in the right place, and then glue them into position. As you've already seen me do that for the dad card, I'm not going to make you watch it all over again. So I'm going to pause my video, go and get the front of my card done, and then we'll see about adding the Happy Father's Day to the corner. Here's my card with the frame glued on and all of the pieces inside. For my paper choice on this card, I was trying to get a kind of checked shirt vibe going on with the patterns, which is why I've chosen these ones. And then I had this lovely wood effect scrapbook paper. Don't even know where I got that from, but I figured it worked really nicely with the kind of vibe I was going for here. And then my Happy Father's Day is cut from a rose gold mirror card. Now that could be glued on, but I think I can get my foam squares in there if I just cut them a little bit smaller. To cut foam squares smaller, it's really simple. Just go down them with a pair of scissors and they'll cut really easily into smaller sizes. And then you can add these to the back. Make sure if you are doing this that none of your foam squares go outside the edge of your cardstock, otherwise you'll be able to see it from the front, which we don't want. We want all these foam squares to be really nice and hidden by the card. Trying to get a good amount on here so it sticks really nicely. And it's definitely fiddly. This is one that would be easier to glue, but I prefer the effect of it looking like it's popping out of the card with the dimensions. So I will persevere with these teeny tiny bits of foam square, get a few more stuck on, and then peel the tops off to reveal the sticky. So it's quite tricky to get those backing parts peeled off when they've been cut this small. So be careful that you don't accidentally pull against the card and crease it when you're doing this. Alright, now I'm sticking it to my fingers. I'm going to line it up so there should be a nice even amount of that frame showing around all the letters. Like that. And then push down to stick. And that's my second Father's Day Starburst card all finished. And that's how they look together. Now, as I said, the same steps that you've seen in this video can be used for any of the Starburst cards available at craftwithsarah.com. I'm planning on adding lots more throughout the next few months for lots of different occasions. But if you don't want to wait and you want to make your perfect Starburst card right now, or if you have a wonderful custom idea in mind that you'd like to create, then I've got just the thing for you with 10 fully customizable Starburst templates that you can add any wording or any image to make your own bespoke cards. Here's a little bit more information about where to go to find that. Join the Craft with Sarah membership for access to this exclusive Starburst Cards class. This class contains 10 individual Starburst card templates. You can see them on the screen now. These templates are only included with this class and are not available anywhere else. You can see from the range here that you'll be able to create a whole host of different effects with your Starburst cards. This class shows you 3 different ways of adding text and images to the cards to make your custom designs. First up, I'll show you how to add either a rectangle or a circle or any shape you like into the middle of your Starburst card, and then how to build up text and add extra images if you want to put something in the middle of that shape. So this is my first example, and I've got 3 different pattern papers that I've used around the edge. These cards are amazing for using up your scraps of pattern paper because you'll only need a little bit of each colour. So this is the first example we'll go through, and then we go a little bit further. Are you prepared for some glitter? Glitter card overload. Alright, so for this one, instead of adding a bold shape on the background, we'll make an offset around the text and then join that to the frame of the Starburst card. This gives a much more cohesive look. It makes your middle image or text look like it really belongs with the rest of the design. So if we compare these two, I used the same text, but this one's got that big, bold rectangle. It's very distinctive, when this one, it blends in a lot more with all of those shapes. Of course, for this one, I could have used different patterns for all of these. I just thought I'd have a little go at making it all glittery with 3 different types of the same glitter card. And then for the third and final example, I'll show you how to use one of the Starburst cards where the central point is not in the middle, but instead it goes off to the corner. And this time, we'll look at adding images on instead. And we'll also see what happens if you only have a teeny tiny amount of the spaces in the spirals or the starburst shape showing, and how you can hack it together so that you don't have to try and cut out those teeny tiny little bits of pattern paper. So there we go, that's the 3 examples I'll show you. But when you're armed with the 10 separate downloads included for 10 different types of card, you can combine them together with any text or images for any occasion that you want. These cards are so versatile, they will work for pretty much anything you can think of. And it's even better because this class is recorded in 3 separate software versions. I've recorded the same steps to make all 3 of these cards, once in Cricut Design Space for if you have a Cricut machine, and then also in the Canvas Workspace software for if you've got a Scan and Cut machine, and in Silhouette Studio for if you have a Silhouette machine. So if you've got any of those 3 types of cutting machine, you can follow along with this class in lessons that are specifically recorded for your machine's software. So what are you waiting for? If you're already part of Craft with Sarah Premium membership, then you can enroll in this class at no extra cost. If you're not a member but you'd like to find out more, head to craftwithsarah.com/join to see all of the amazing things you get as part of our membership. It's not just classes, you'll get design credits added to your account every single month to download from our wide range of hundreds and hundreds of SVGs. You can enter member-only challenges each month to test out your newfound crafting skills. And of course, you get access to not just this class, but all existing classes that have been made, and a brand new class released every single month. There are other benefits in the membership too. To find out all of them, head to craftwithsarah.com/join. I hope to see you inside the membership soon, and I really hope you enjoy making your own custom Starburst cards. They're so quick and easy to do, and I love the effect, and perfect for using up those scraps.